life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days.
Afternoon, folks, and welcome back to episode 2 of NCAA from the UK. I'm joined again by Nadji, and this will be, as I say, NCAA.
Off at these fucking clowns who were up top, they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.
So thanks for coming back, Nadji. I know we dived in last week with some sort of early intro sort of stuff about college football, and I know a lot of people on some of our Discord channels and some of the people reached out and appreciated some of that feedback. So one of the questions following on from obviously the conferences and the championship games and stuff like that we talked about is how do teams get into the bowl? Because, you know, there are so many different bowl games. There are so many, so many bowl games. It almost seems like win one game and you're in a bowl somehow or other. It's what are the
not quite
let's call it prerequisites, if you like. You know, I know it's not quite a prerequisite, but I know there are ins and outs of making it to a bowl game. What are they, and how do teams get into some different bowls? Is there a hierarchy of bowls? Is there a more important bowl than other type thing?
Yeah, right. First of all, before we go, hi everyone. I want to correct what was said last week about the playoffs. Apparently, there's been an expansion to 12 team, which will happen in 2026. I think they're still kind of working the kinks. It might be they might gradually go to it, or they might go straight to 12 in 26. I think it's a bit of a debate at the moment, but the CFP playoffs are definitely going to change in the near future to expand it to more teams, which obviously is relevant to bowl as we know them. So yeah, thanks Paul for pointing that out. I knew I wasn't quite right, and there was something said and then something else, and then so yeah, keep an eye out for that. It'll be a big news anyway if you're into the NCAA. I think people will talk about that when it happens, because it'll be quite interesting, especially with the first CFP ranking coming up. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, that will be a massive step, wouldn't it, as you say? Because if they gradually do it, then it might be gentler, I suppose. You kind of go from this to that. But if they suddenly go to 12, it's like, how does that affect the rankings? How does that affect the league?
Yeah, exactly. More games as well.
More games. I mean, how do they work it out? I mean, because if they go to that 12 team, you kind of think, you can kind of almost write 11 teams into who are going to be playing. Do they then kind of? I don't want to say, front load or even back load. You know, early games they kind of like, we don't these because we're going to make it to the playoffs. Will it affect? As we talked about last week, some of those blowout mismatch games.
Yeah, I think it will affect scheduling. Yeah, because scheduling is something we can talk about maybe in the future, which is kind of weird the way it happens in college. You don't play the same team every year, and it's a whole kind of debate and all that, and whoever you want to go play our conference and that kind of thing. So yeah, it could definitely have change the way you want to prepare your season and who you want to play. You might not want to play the reigning champs if you want to have a chance to make the playoffs or whatever. So yeah, we'll see when it happens. Let's talk bowl. There is a hierarchy, I think. There's 4 big ones: Rose Bowl, Peach Bowl, Cotton Bowl, and I always forget
Orange Bowl.
That's one. Yeah, Orange Bowl. That's it. Orange
good teamwork there. Good teamwork.
Yeah, Orange, Rose, Cotton, and Peach Bowl. The 4 biggest one, and 2 of them are picked every year at the moment anyway to be the semi-finals. I don't know what it is this year. Can't remember. Ultimately, though, bowl things are very much franchised. Same again. It's all about money, I think. Sponsorship, so they'll have very funky name, the Totsitos Bowl or the whatever, insert your
Taco Bell Bowl or whatever.
So I think the hierarchy comes into how much money each company gives. So you'll have, as you say, the Verizon Bowl or whatever, which obviously is a massive company, so they'll give more money to the local whatever fishery or whatever it can be bowl. So there is a bit of a hierarchy, and usually the better your record and the higher you finish on the rankings, the higher bowl you'd get to, I guess, because you'll get offered more money. And yeah, I think it's literally a season finale for you to showcase your team against a team that has a similar record than you, and you haven't played necessarily. So it could be a cross conference, could be in conference if you've already played them. So it's quite rare, but it does happen.
So usually they're
Yeah,
extra
usually they
conferences, they're
are,
not really-
unless they agree to it for whatever reason, as a rematch maybe or something. I've seen it happen a few times. There is a bowl eligibility. You have to have a winning record. You cannot enter a bowl if you don't have a winning record. So you need to at least win 5 games to be eligible to attend any kind of bowl. If you don't, if you're one of those 4 and 6 teams, then you can't get to it. So so that's why I think week 10 is kind of big because there's a lot of team fighting for ball eligibility, and it's exposure because you'll be on the network. It's your stadium maybe potentially getting filled, or you're selling tickets, so it's a revenue for the universities. And then it's a showcase for players that maybe on the fringe of making it to the draft or second round, third round picks, fourth round pick, to showcase themselves against a good team. That's a good thing about bowls. We've seen in the recent years that first round prospects tend to drop out of them because they don't mean anything at all in terms of competition. And that kind of gives you the level of care, or how important they are to players, team, coaches, and all that. If a first round prospect is not going to play because of potential injury, it tells you how much they actually care about it. And
it's not a trophy. It's not a trophy they're going to put on their trophy cabinet. It's, I won an orange bowl, or I won the cotton bowl. Or it's like when the livelihood is, as you say, a risk of injury in the last game at college, that could completely impact them. So okay,
absolutely. I think was it Sam Howell last year that did it, or the UNC quarterback got injured in the bowl. What's his name? Oh, he got drafted to the Panthers, I think. Oh, I can't remember. Too many names, too many teams to try and remember. Yeah. But yeah, he got injured in a bowl, and then obviously all the questions were, why are you even playing there? You potentially a first round prospect, and now that your ankle is busted, you're probably gonna slide to the second or third, or even lower depending on the injury. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, winning record, and then after that, I think you get invited. You can apply for bowls, and it's all about sponsorship money, and obviously those brands are trying to put the best game they can. So if you finish 8-2, you'll probably play against another 8-2 teams, because then the matchup will be
bigger magic. Yeah,
that's
bigger
it. And
TV
then,
audience, etc.
That's it. Or if you finish number 6, you'll probably try and play against number 7 or number 5 or number 8, or something that can kind of work for everyone in terms of traveling to the stadium, wherever that bowl
I was going
is.
to say, what about locations as well? Are these bowls kind of set in specific locations? So you're likely,
yes,
if like Rose Bowl is always going to happen sort of California, and therefore you're always going to get teams from that area. You're not going to get Florida State, for example, flying all the way to California. I know they have done it, but not for
yeah. It is possible to absolutely go cross country to play in a bowl. Oh, it's the Sugar Bowl, the fourth one, not the Orange Bowl. The Orange Bowl is so it's Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl, and Cotton Bowl, the 4 big one, and then the Peach Bowl is another big one, but not quite as big.
Top 4.
Yeah, top 5, and then there's a Fiesta Bowl, and then there's a bunch of. Seriously, just Google it. You'll see. There's
how many there are.
There's so many, it's ridiculous. But no, you can absolutely go and play at Rose Bowl if you're in Florida. It's happening. If your record shows and you finish 4-5, not 4 because you'll be in the playoff, but if you finish 5 and the Rose Bowl isn't one of the semifinals this year, it is totally possible that you'll fly across to Los Angeles to go and play. And I've just got the payout here. It's $4 million to the team that wins it. For example, the Rose Bowl. So it's not nothing.
It's not, especially now with, as we mentioned last week, there's sort of the image rights and the money that can bring to a college. That's, so maybe with that, you wonder as it changes, as more money from bowls come in because of image rights to players, will they become maybe more important to colleges, and will they want maybe their bigger players to play in some of them over the years as money becomes, tighter, because officially colleges can't use that winnings, obviously, but as we mentioned last week,
so it
there'll
goes
be
to
ways of doing it.
So it goes to the team, not the players, obviously, because they're not allowed to be paid still. But yeah, absolutely. $4 million is. I mean, I don't know in the grand scheme of American university how much money that is for them, but it's still, it's still a decent amount of money plus broadcast.
As you say, it's a fair whack to the coffers. I mean, NCAA football. I mean, college footballs and basically college finances are crazy when you compare them to the UK or the rest of the way. It is near enough a professional sort of sport. The money that they've got, $4 million is probably for their football budget for the year is probably only 1 or 2%, but it's still a healthy chunk that you would could potentially use for signing bonuses or whatever else, as we've mentioned with the image rights.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty much what there is to it, really. Usually you'll just watch the team you support play the ball they get to, if they do. Fingers crossed. And then, ball season isn't. It's not very.
Is it
exciting.
Almost like Pro Bowl? Is almost like Pro Bowl from the NFL side of things?
No, because they have
more seriously. They actually have.
They have one of those. They have a Pro Bowl, which is the East-West Shrine game, and they also have another one, which is kind of a
Senior Bowl or something, isn't it?
The Senior Bowl, which is only seniors attending the draft. But the East-West Shrine Bowl is kind of the college Pro Bowl. So they have that they use it as a draft prospect thing as well as a it's just a game. So that happens way later, and maybe end of January. Just before the combine. And it's a place for scouts and that kind of stuff. But no, I think it's just, if you're one of those teams that's been battling for the playoffs and you don't make it, but you kind of want this trophy, this reward, this goal to get to, having a ball in terms of, it's like the Super Bowl, isn't it? That's always the goal when you play football. And as a player myself, we're trying to get to the bread ball. So it's always, even if it doesn't mean anything, it's always a game. You're a competitor, you're a football player. What you want to do is win games. It doesn't matter if the game means nothing in terms of, it's still a trophy. You're still going against another team, and you're still testing yourself against potentially a good team. That's the idea. So they're meaningless in terms of the grand scheme of things, but for players, the people, obviously, you want to play. If you love football, you want to play football, right?
And so you're going to go and play. As you mentioned, some of these players from college, that might be the last time they pad up. That might change, but maybe their final chance to shine and to show it. And I suppose the knock-on effect for unis and colleges and stuff is that they can then go out and recruit as Rose Bowl champions, or as you say, Cotton Bowl. So there's a slight kudos on that front as well. They've won the money, but they're also, hey, we're a bowl-winning team. Come and play for us. It
pumps you up as a university. We won the Cotton Bowl 3 times in a row or whatever. It's that kind of thing. And then, as you said, there's also college rosters of 90 players or more on now, and some of these guys are not even going to enter the draft, and that'll be the last time they ever play football, because adult football isn't really something that exists in the States. So as soon as you've entered the job market and you're working, that's it, basically. So this is the last time ever you might even play football or put a kit on. Even if you're not getting on the field, it's something you kind of want to be a part of. And it'll be nice to have whatever they get, ring the trophy or something in your house. I guess.
There must be some. Yeah, I'm sure there must be some memento that they get for it. Yeah.
And even if you go lower down into the FCS Bowl and the slower one, it's same again. It's a trophy. If you're if you like sports and you play sport, any kind of sport that you play, which is wherever you are in the world, you kind of want to compete and win trophies and put them on your mantelpiece. So, it's a nice thing. I think it's a way of college, the tournament to have a nice ending. It's just that I think over the years it's become so crazy the number of balls there is, and rightfully so. There's so many teams, right? You need to try and get one for everyone, but yeah. It is what it is. It's kind of became a funny memes. Like, oh, it's ball season. Here we go. Let's go.
Everyone's got a ticket to the bowl, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's it's definitely meaningful for some people and some more than others. And yeah, as I said, there's always a middle, third round, second round, fourth round prospect that just gonna play one more game and show what they can do against a good opponent. So that's good for them as well.
And as you say, week 10 it becomes really important then because it's that sort of crossover period of where your record is, where you stand. Some massive big games in week 10 coming up this week as well that we'll just dive into. It's some crazy big games. So that makes it really more important because, you can almost, as you say, punch a ticket for a bowl this week if you're in that sort of crossover period.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, you that's when you start seeing tendencies and records and people that are on the fringe. Week 10 is when you see people that really need to win, especially with the schedule, whatever schedule they've got. You're saying, oh, this week is, if they win this week, then they're in, or is it going to be an uphill battle because they've got to play this team next week. So yeah, we're getting to the point where it's crunch time, and rightfully the CFP rankings have come out on Tuesday.
They've come out, but there's some interesting sort of stories from the CFP rankings, right?
Yeah, but we talked about it last week. We said it really is really doesn't matter right now. The CFP ranking matters, the last one matters, but it's just interesting what the committee thinks, who's ranked who and where and how, and try and decipher why. It's a nice point of debate and talk that we can get into either now or if we want to talk games before. But
maybe. I mean, I think just as we touched on it, there were some head scratching ones. I think the OSU one, considering their recent outing, should we say? There were some big games big sort of shocks from last week where there were some results where teams got handed to a bit of a
So people that haven't seen it, go and check it out. I use ESPN because it's the easiest way. They've got all the rankings on one page. It's quite nice to see. But should we start at the top? And I'm gonna ask you a question. So what do you think Tennessee number one? That's a bit.
It's a strange one.
Yeah.
I mean, it I suppose this week will show, but I don't know how they managed to jump with their. I mean, unless they're kind of forward planning the return of their starting quarterback, it's like, why have they suddenly jumped to one over teams that have got been tried and tested? It's almost as you say, are they bone of contention? Are they specifically doing that to highlight the bigger games coming up? Or are they getting people to talk about it? Where have they decided that? It's an interesting one. I'm not sure why.
It's a very interesting one. Considering the AP one and the coaches one, they've got him at 2 and 3, I believe. 2 and 3. With Georgia still at number 1 and Ohio State slotting in between. It's interesting. Is it? I don't know. They are absolutely amazing. There's no question about it. I'm almost not questioning why they're number 1, but it's a weird one. I can totally put them number 1. I understand they've been playing like number 1s.
You can certainly argue for and against that top sort of 2 or 3, can't you? But it does seem it's almost like maybe this week it's like, they can have a week at number 1. Maybe
maybe that's the thing. I don't think the winner against Alabama wasn't that decisive for me. To put them that high. They won against Alabama, but
they didn't win.
They also allowed 49 points they allowed 49 points, and Alabama really played really bad. I think if they catch Alabama on a good day on that day, I don't think they win that game. But I think Alabama's been showing not been as good as well, so maybe that game doesn't count as heavy as other games. Well, they struggled against Texas. They struggled against. This is Alabama LSU today, which is massive. I think.
That's a huge game.
A huge game.
It's at night as well, isn't it? I think it's a night game as well.
It's one tonight.
It's going to look amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't expecting it to be there, but I can see why they did it. I just obviously tonight is gonna it's gonna give us a
Really shake
definite
things
answer.
up, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, I don't know why it's almost disrespectful to Georgia to have done this. The way they won against Oregon in that first game, and I know there's this new kind of, and it comes from the NFL where it's only week one. Anything can happen because it's week one and we know already. It's just like, yeah, okay, but also it was 48-3, and it was decisive against an Oregon team that's put 45 points ever since, every
Yeah.
week. So very, very weird one. I would have put Georgia number one. They're the champion. You know they're going to deliver. And to me, I don't know
Do you think
what
maybe
else
because they didn't put enough on Florida last week that maybe they were like,
Yeah, but they also won 48-20 last week. It's not like it was,
wasn't that? Yeah, it wasn't like that close.
it wasn't that close at all. And I know Florida isn't a good team at the moment, but they're still a very decent team. Yeah, interesting. And then we got Tennessee, Ohio, Georgia. Margin might be so small though. It might be
it would be interesting to see, wouldn't it? What the slight differences are. Is it 0.2% or something difference between one and the other? I mean, absolutely. Clemson dropping to 4. I mean, they didn't play, so you can't.
I think the struggle to Syracuse kind of really hurt them. That game was really close till halftime, and Syracuse has shown that they're not very good, losing to Notre Dame this week. So it's the problem with the ACC, isn't it? It's such a kind of a weaker division conference. I think you pay the price. Clemson.
The weighting on it is poorer, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And the fact that Clemson is still looking for a decent starting quarterback is, DJU, as they call him, Ugalele. Try this name. It's gonna bite me.
Just DJU. We'll stick with that because
DJU is good. Yeah. I don't think he's got obviously Trevor Lawrence. big boots to fill. No, not quite, Mr. Undefeated. Yeah, bit of respect though. I mean, they're still 8-0. You have to go and win those games. It's you can only play who you play. But time will tell. I think they've got a big game this week again. So we'll see. And then we got Michigan at 5, and then Alabama at 6.
It's interesting that Alabama are ahead of TCU, even though TCU are still unbeaten. That's kind of indicative, of, you say, of the scheduling and all sorts of other things that we've mentioned last week, where it's a bit opinion based rather than
it is. I think the reputation kind of helps here because it's Alabama. I think it would have been any other team. They would have probably swapped them around. But yeah, I think that's the thing with Alabama, isn't it? You kind of, they're struggling this year and they're not as good as they used to, especially on defense, which is we know we talk offense often, but them struggling on defense is a weird thing.
That's one of their strengths usually, isn't it?
Usually, yes.
So
and that one loss is to Tennessee, so it's how much does that loss actually count? I can see them at 6, as I said, and I will say it again. I think they'll go to the SEC championship, and they could definitely win either against Tennessee or Georgia or whoever ends up over there. And I think that game against LSU coming tonight is massive. We'll see what they actually made of, because LSU is a good team. I think LSU is a very good team. Yeah, so
it'd be interesting to see if LSU do pull off the win there. Then what happens? Does that completely shake these rankings all around? It's got to.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, definitely. The problem with LSU is the 2 losses, isn't it? It's hard to put a team so high. 2 losses. Yeah.
I mean,
unless they go undefeated.
5 teams. Let's say now, if they don't lose again, then you can see them making a late run for it. But as you say, right now, 2 losses again, when there's 5 teams that are, unbeaten. You've got to put them down there. But some big games coming up. They beat Alabama and they go on a run. You can't. Yeah,
they could do, and obviously Tennessee or Georgia is going to drop a game tonight. So that one of them will have 1 loss. So it's not impossible that all of these teams have a loss by the time the season's done, and then you're only 1 loss behind, which you can
make
can
up.
argue against.
And
Coming
how do you
back to
think your Ducks are
TCU though,
doing?
I
Sorry,
want to go to TCU before we go Ducks at 8. I think the OSU showing last week was pretty impressive. Wait, did they play? No, that was Kent State. Was it Kansas State?
Yeah, Kansas State. Yeah,
My
Kansas
bad.
State played. Yeah,
But yeah, no,
State.
the Horned Frogs have been playing really, really well, and the problem is that their defense isn't that good, and they've been getting by playing really good offense. So
Yeah,
I think that 8-0 is a bit.
It's a bit misleading. I mean, they let West Virginia score 31 points on them last week.
Yeah, exactly. The game last week was a bit too tight for my liking to have them sitting at 7. But also they're undefeated. Sometimes games don't go your way, and you kind of have to find a way to win games, and they have every single time. So kudos to them for doing so. So yeah, I will say I think this week is massive for that kind of. It's really going to shape the ranking one way or another. We'll see where all those teams are. It's not impossible that next week it looks completely different and teams are jumped and dropped massively. So
as you say, at the top, there's going to be a change definitely because game of the week, game of the season, almost at this
game
point,
of the season, absolutely, yeah.
Tennessee, is it at Georgia or is it Georgia at
Tennessee? At Georgia, they might be playing in Atlanta as well at the Mercedes Stadium. I'm not sure. Could have a look.
What is that, Georgia? Yeah, you're right. It's at Georgia. So
in Georgia, yeah. 7:30, isn't it? Where is it? Tennessee at Georgia. Sanford Stadium in Athens. Yeah, at Georgia, not even in NFL Stadium.
At the NFL Stadium. So that will be 110,000 Georgia Bulldogs going absolutely mental, won't it? So a tough place to go for any team, but especially teams now right at the top of the rankings. It's going to be almost must-watch TV, but there's some couple of really stonking games, as we mentioned in the Alabama LSU game. I think can also be another one where you can't take your eyes off of it. It should be, just two teams going at it for the full, 60 minutes. But that Georgia Tennessee one is just going to be.
I've been looking forward to that for a couple of weeks now. So, when the more wins they've amassed, the more that one has been circled red on the calendar. Yeah. So let's talk Oregon, number 8, 7-1. Again, I don't really like saying, "Oh, it's week 1, they've lost," but it was indeed week 1. How much, and they had to travel to Georgia, which from the other side of the country is not an easy thing to do for any sports team in general. I mean, I've said it. They've been scoring 45 points again, and Bonix has been playing out of his mind in that system. So. I don't mind having them here. The Pac-12 is a little weaker this year, I think. But they have for them that LSU does, has lost 2 games. Otherwise, I think they'll probably be above them. But you can see why I like the Pac-12, though, if you look at the ranking. It's 8, 9, 12, 14. It's all very condensed. And I think that's why I enjoy the Pac-12 the most. The teams at the top are really close to each other. It's really fun to watch.
It's not that, as we mentioned last week, sort of 3 teams there and then everybody else miles away. The closeness of it all is right there.
Yeah, it's really fun for that. Do I agree with the ranking? Yes, I think they're right for now. They've got a massive game in Utah next week, I think. Which they'll have to deliver, and I think if they can do to Utah what they did to UCLA last week, they're bound to go up and up and up, especially carry on scoring this many points. Same again, the problem with Oregon is their defense. They're allowing a little bit too easy points against teams that they shouldn't allow to. But when you score 45 games, you don't really care about your defense. You just have to.
It's almost like a Chiefs, isn't it? No matter how many
absolutely
they let score, they're going to go out and score more. And do you think the Ducks, looking at their schedule, can probably get through the next 3-4 weeks and go?
Yeah, it's possible because finish top 4 though is going to be very difficult. I think. Basically, top 3 is pretty much nailed on for me. Tennessee, Ohio, Georgia is just going to be the top 3. It's going to be very hard. Yeah, who's going to squeak in? And Michigan is obviously undefeated so far, and Clemson still undefeated. So I think even if they have a really good season and they win the Pac-12 decisively, they'll probably end up either 5th or 6th. something like that, unless the wheels comes off one of those teams and there's a free spot at the top. It's possible, but Michigan looked really, really good against Penn State and against Michigan State. It's always a bit of a trap game there. And yeah, they show themselves pretty well. So they've got a very good defense they can rely on and win games that aren't as easy, because sometimes it just doesn't go your way.
Yeah. As you mentioned, with like TCU, them, they've won some of their games ugly, I suppose. Haven't they?
Yeah,
so,
yeah, absolutely.
Michigan will always be there and thereabouts with that defense. So.
Yeah, and the same goes for USC at number 9. I think the Pac-12 championship is going to decide whoever bumps up, basically. And I'm guessing it'll be Oregon USC in that game, unless SC gets beat by UCLA, then anything can happen.
Then it's open season, isn't it?
Which is. Wait, no, they've already played each other. They have already played each other. Too many games. And UCLA did beat USC, I think. God no. I mean, anyway, whoever wins the Pac-12 has.
No, they haven't played UCLA yet. No.
And they haven't. Okay.
No, UCLA is.
It's got to be on their schedule.
It's in a couple of weeks, so they're on the 19th. They play UCLA.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh, they've lost against Utah. That's what they lost. Okay. So yeah, I think if
Oregon and a Pac-12 into bit again there, isn't it? So then Ducks have got to play Utah still.
Yeah, we got Utah in a couple of weeks. Next week.
Yeah, the same week. No, the same week that USC. Are
same week,
UCLA,
week 14.
So it's a big Pac-12 week, that one then. Yeah,
absolutely. And then LSU to round it up. Again, they lost the first game against Florida State, which was pretty ugly, especially considering.
I'll take it.
Especially considering. I just think Florida State's kind of, looking at themselves. I'm not sure. Having what's his name, QB was a great choice. It was week 1 and they lost by a point. Since then they've been really, really good, and they got absolutely blown out by Tennessee, but it's Tennessee, so they won pretty comfortably everything. And I think this week is massive for them. If they can scratch a win at Alabama, they're definitely going to be in contention. And then after that, if they lose against Alabama, I think it'll be bye and probably finish 18 or 20 on the ranking or something like that, maybe even lower, 3 losses. But yeah, that's the top 10. So looking forward to see it evolve and change and see what happens to it.
But as you say, all the teams are starting to kind of get to that set part of the season where wins and losses start to become even more important, and some of the games, they're now into top 10 games that are happening as well. So they take on that extra level of importance and extra level of weighting in the rankings and everything else. So it really is nitty gritty time, isn't it?
It is, yeah. This week is when it starts ramping up, all to November. It's the same in the NFL. If you watch the NFL, the September and October is almost just about racking as many weeks as you can until you get to Thanksgiving, when, when things really start to matter, and every win seems to matter a lot more than the first week 1, week 2 loss you had, because whatever,
nobody was ready, the Ross was in, injuries, it wasn't that important. You still hadn't kind of bedded in the new head coach or whatever else. It's as you turn into Thanksgiving, that turn of the season, that's when it starts to really matter.
That's it. So if you want, shall we spin around the schedule, see what people should be watching?
Must watch games for this week, I suppose.
Yeah, that's it. Don't forget, they haven't changed time yet. I think they're doing it tonight. So it's 4:00, 7 and onwards. So we're still an hour ahead because we've swapped times. They haven't yet. I mean, the 7 o'clock game, 7:30. Just watch Tennessee, Georgia. Don't watch anything else. I don't care even if your team plays at that time. Don't don't watch that. Just watch
It doesn't
Tennessee,
matter.
Georgia.
It really doesn't matter, does
Yeah,
it? You're one of
it's
those. It's just like
it's
that is a shoe in for #1 game of the week. Everybody
yeah.
should be
See,
watching that.
Oregon's playing Colorado at the exact same time, and I'm obviously going to keep an eye on that game. But I'm not watching that. I'm watching Tennessee, Georgia, all the way through. It's on CBS, so I mean I use IPTV, so I get all those channels, the American channels, so I'll be watching that there. Hopefully in the UK, BT Sport or whoever's
Hopefully,
showing
BT
it.
Sport pick that up. They really should. There shouldn't really be any other game.
Yeah, it would be a bit of a disgrace if they didn't. But yeah, get yourself in front of that. It's going to be a cracking game. This is kind of games that could be in the history books, and hopefully it's a good game. Hopefully it's no a big injury that changes everything, and I hope it can be competitive and a nice game all the way through.
Yeah,
because you never know, right? It's football. If Adam Hooker gets a concussion or something silly, or they lose somebody, Jalen Hyatt gets injured, and then the game doesn't feel right because they're not in it.
Yeah.
And then so hopefully it's a clean game and a nice competitive game, and may the best win, may the best team win. Oh, what was it?
Sorry, I was just, as we were talking about it, I just went to quickly check the BT Sport guide, and suddenly I spotted Penn State at Indiana. I thought, no way, but that's on BT Sport 4. BT Sport 3 are showing Tennessee at Georgia.
Right, there you
On there. So,
put yourself on that.
Get on that and just settle in for the afternoon, because that is the game to watch, definitely. Late game?
Absolutely. Let's do the 4:00 game, because there's a couple that are really interesting, and that's going to start in about half an hour now. So you can get your TV.
There's a game kicking off now, isn't there?
There is. So don't watch Ohio State Northwestern. That's not going to be a good game. I can tell you this much. I think the point spread is ridiculous.
Yeah.
OSU is where is the 37 points favorite.
It's one of those ones you talked about last week. It's a blowout. It's not a close game.
This is 100% a blowout.
Yeah. Just for your information, that is the game that's showing on BT Sport 4.
Oh boy.
They are showing the Army. They're showing the Air Force Army on the other channel. So
so obviously that's a bit of a rivalry. I'm not sure it's going to be a good game. These guys don't really play football to enter the NFL or anything. No. They're going to go on to their career in either of these forces. So
their main jobs aren't playing a football, are they?
No, absolutely not.
They just happen to be soldiers who play football rather than.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. It's a good rivalry. It's a good game. Usually the kits are pretty nice. They usually make a bit of an effort for this one. No, I would watch. I don't know. I would watch either Texas Tech or TCU. I think it's a good test for TCU's defense. And it'll be a statement if they can win easy. Texas State isn't pushover. I know they're not quite up there this year at 4-4, but the point spread is only 9. So Las Vegas knows this could be a test for TCU, and I think it is. I really think it is. Texas could really push some buttons there and throw the rankings into a complete shambles. But if TCU goes out there and win comfortably,
Texas Tech, then
I think it'll be a good statement for them. Interesting game to keep an eye on. It could get ugly. You never know. But watch this, or watch the North Carolina Virginia game. I think that'll be a good game too. And I think those two you'll be right. Tulane. 19, by the way. They've been playing amazing. Yeah, that should be a good one. Lower in the ranking, Tulane isn't one of those colleges that's on a radar usually, but they've been playing pretty well, and they were undefeated until very recently. So good game. And there's a bunch of good games. I think the Florida A&M game could be good.
About Florida, Texas A&M. It'd be a good game. As you say, not much impact on the rankings, but again,
not much impact. But
two good teams. Kind of equally matched, you'd think.
Yeah, that's it. Sometimes the rankings don't give you the best game of the week. I think the best game of the week might have been App State at East Carolina. That was on Thursday night. Really close game, really important for the Sun Belt. So, sometimes it's not. Obviously, there's 1 and 2 playing this week. Tennessee, Georgia. That's the biggest game.
But isn't it? Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to try and find the closest matchup, and that might give you the best game. And A&M with Jimbo Fisher, they have to get better, otherwise this is going to get ugly really fast. And Florida State Florida isn't pushover either. So they aspire to be high up there, contending maybe next year or the year after. So it's good game to watch at 4 o'clock if everything else turns into a blowout, I guess.
Yeah.
And then 7 o'clock again. I'm not going to talk about any other game that's at that time. It's Tennessee, Georgia.
Tennessee, Georgia, forget it. That's it. That's locked.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some other, as you say, there are some other close, good games around.
Yeah.
And you think some of those might be good, but none of them should be as good as one.
No,
three.
yeah, there is. Yeah, the Penn State Indiana is a good game. Syracuse Pete is a good game. The UCF Memphis is a good game, I think, but it doesn't matter. Not this way. Just watch the highlights.
Watch those if they're your team and they you like those. Keep an eye on them, but
keep an eye on it.
You've got to watch Tennessee at Georgia.
Maybe if you can do multi-screen and just put it in a corner somewhere. And then the late games. So I would watch Bama LSU. I think this one is the one that's got the most ramification in terms of playoff, playoff and ranking. I think it'll definitely define Alabama's season. And if LSU can win it, then all of a sudden they're only
one
loss.
On a run, couldn't it?
Yeah. They're only one loss behind whoever loses. So one loss behind Georgia or Tennessee, whoever loses now, and there'll be 2 losses with Bama. So it is possible they could leapfrog, and depending on what happens next. What's the rest of the schedule by LSU? So they're playing Bama, Kansas, UMB, and AM on the last game. So they could go on a run and finish, 10-2. So yeah. That's a good game to watch, I think.
It'd be interesting to keep an eye on Clemson, Notre Dame, because obviously, Notre Dame. I can't help it's
Notre Dame.
It's Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. I mean, because they kind of came in and gave a pretty good showing of themselves last week, and Clemson coming off of a bye week. It could be could be a banana skin, that one.
Absolutely, could be. Yeah, Notre Dame is obviously destroyed Syracuse. Won against Syracuse last week.
I think the scoreline flattered Syracuse in the end. I watched a bit of that, and
there was a bit of a garbage time, wasn't it?
There was. Syracuse got back into it towards the end, but it was like
Notre Dame is an interesting one because they're independent, right? So, and they've been up there for a long time in terms of rankings. They've already been ranked in the top 10 for a while, and they've changed coach, and their loss to Cal and Stanford was really bad. I mean, no offense to Stanford and Cal, they deserve to win that game, but you shouldn't lose against low ranking Pac-12 when you're trying to make a push for playoffs. I think they're still searching, and they're very, very streaky. They could easily beat Clemson, I think, if things go well for them and they play there on a good day. But they also could very easily get absolutely destroyed.
It's all down to the first quarter with them, I think, isn't it? If they don't get off to a start and their running game doesn't really take off, then they can easily just implode. But they're a streaky team, much like Michigan, Rutgers. That's an easy one.
I mean, you never know, right? This is the NCAA. You never know. Rutgers might, all this Big Ten thing is, all these rivalries and stuff. You never know. A game could go out of hand. Kickoff return, you're 7 down, and then first throw of the game, you throw a pick 6, and you're 14 down. You never know what's happening. Yeah. 2 plays in, and you're 14 points down. God knows.
And that's the joy of college, isn't it? The college game does go that quickly sometimes.
It does, absolutely.
You go make yourself a drink, you come back, and you're like, how's the team 3 touchdowns down already?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty crazy. I like your game actually. I think Florida State Miami is going to be a great game. Great rivalry, obviously.
Massive rivalry. It's a game that I was, you highlight. It's one of those games that you highlight every year of the season. If you're playing, it's like, I'll be playing Miami.
Yeah, that's the kind of game you want to go and see live. I mean, it's in the Hard Rock Stadium, so it tells you how much booking an NFL stadium for that. Good game. The Hurricane, I'm kind of glad they're bad because they stole Cristobal from us, the coach. But also I'm kind of glad because now we got Dan Lanning. But I kind of root against them now.
I mean, I always root against them anyway, but
obviously, it's funny because the U has always been this top-end college producing absolutely amazing players.
Some great players have come out of the U.
Ed Reed, Frank Gore, Lewis, so many amazing player, Hall of Fame players in the NFL have come out of the U. It's just so weird to not see them rise up back to the top. They've been really struggling to get back to
And
the
you
head
wonder
of
why
the
that
world.
is. I mean, it's not like the Gators. It's not like us. We haven't kind of stolen any of their thunder or anything like that. It's just they just haven't got the system back. They haven't got the program back where it should be, which is in the long run a bit of a shame because it just helps to make that conference stronger if you've got a lot more stronger teams, and the U should really be up there. But hey, the fact they're not. If we can beat down on them, then they're going to take it, right?
Yeah, that's it. And this ball is massive. This game is massive as well because you win. If Miami wins, they punch themselves a ticket for a ball, and then they're right up there against you. Your favorites by a touchdown and a bit, so you should win this comfortably.
Should win this one, yeah. And as you say, then we're potentially that's our bowl kind of punched. I mean, we're 5-3, so
5-3 you should be all right.
Yeah. I mean, the three that we've lost were, we're probably, I suppose, expected to lose in a way. Yes. Well, Wake Forest was a bit of a tight one, but NC State and Clemson, you're kind of one of those.
Yeah,
if we can get through the end.
Yeah, the problem is you've got Syracuse and Florida on the schedule, which is tough games.
It's a tough way to finish that one.
Tough way to finish. So if you can win now and winning against the Louisiana, I think that punches you in. So you should be all right. But that should be a good game. Keep your eye on that. If you're up late, so what time does that kick off? 11:30.
11:30. So
11:30.
But hey, there's no numbers this week, so why not start?
That's true. We're on the bye.
Bye week, you can pivot, can't you?
That's it. But that's true. And then there's a Wake Forest NC State at 12. That could be interesting. Wake Forest was ranked a lot higher before they lost to who did they lose against last week? Clicking, loading against Louisville. Yeah, pretty bad loss. But they're a good team. The Demon Deacons. Cool name.
Good, great name. I mean, and then it's as you say, it's Wake Forest NC State, so it's 21-22. So when you're calling out those close matches in the rankings, that's one that
usually is a good game. Yeah. So if you're up late, still
really, really late.
12, that's it. And then after that, it's the usual Pac-12 at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Keep an eye on USC tomorrow morning. See how much did they handle Cal, because I think the way you're going to win now is very important for the ranking, and I think they should beat Cal pretty comfortably. But you never know.
You expect that to be a 30-pointer. It's not a 30-point clear
at the very least. Same goes for UCLA against Arizona State. It was a good team. So same again. If they win by 8 touchdowns,
they win handsomely, then it's like, that might kind of give them a bit more bump on that sort of opinionated rankings.
That's it. Yep. So there you go. Cool. That's this week.
That's your Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening viewing sorted. And Naji, appreciate your time. It's been great having a chat with you. Yeah. Thank you for having it, and we'll catch up again soon.
Let's try again. Don't expect this to be every week at this time, because my schedule is all over the place, and I would love to do it earlier in the week so we can talk about the results, especially this week, so we can talk about Tennessee, Georgia.
We missed some of those big results. We could have spent a long time talking about that.
We could have talked about OSU and all those results last week. So we'll try and do it sooner so we can talk. Now, if you have any question about anything, don't hesitate. Hit us up on Twitter. My name's here, and your name's over there.
My name's here. And
if you have any question about
Let's Talk Sport as well.
Absolutely, on Let's Talk Sport, in the comment below, just go for it. If you have anything, if I was wrong about anything about the ball, I'm not a true expert or anything. But if you have any question,
just noticed.
Oh, there you go.
Just noticed a few of those there.
Oh, Do you think the SEC gets too much of a
I completely missed all the comments. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
So, they do. I mean, that's why it's the SEC, isn't it? I think they're heavily weighted towards the top all the time. But for the right reason. They're good teams. I think I think the committee will always eventually get back on their feet, and they know that this first one doesn't really matter, so they kind of play with it and test the water around the country, because you don't want to play off game where people say, oh, they should have never been here. I think especially last year, what was it, Michigan, Ohio, Alabama, and Georgia, and it was just it was a Georgia Michigan. It was never close. It wasn't a good game, and then people start questioning why was Michigan number 4. Should have been whoever
Should
was
be
at the time. I
anybody.
can't quite remember.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree absolutely, but also it's a very difficult job, and I'm not saying I wouldn't want to do it. I think it'll be very fun to do such thing. You have so many parameters to take in consideration. I think bias is obviously going to happen. So, but yeah. Hopefully it'll change. Hopefully we can have a strong Big 12, a strong Big 10, a strong Pac-12, and then everything will be weighted the
I
same.
think it will happen. I think it'll start to go to that way. Where do you say, with the image rights and all that sort of stuff, that will start to kind of filter out, and the big 4 or 5 will start to lose that.
Yeah, I think so.
That draw of you have to go there if you want to get to the NFL.
Yep.
As you say, more players who go through college don't ever make it. So if they go somewhere else where they get some money, that it levels up everywhere, then it might spread that around a bit.
Well, if you can sign an NIL deal for, say, the Quinn Ewers, Texas starting QB, signed a contract for $4 million, I think. When you're 18, you're not going to say no. And it might say, $4 million is probably enough to set you for life, for a very decent life. So, first year of college, you get your ankle absolutely exploded. You're not going to make it to the NFL. People are going to do it, yeah. Especially all those southern colleges where most of them players are coming from families that can barely afford to go to university. Never mind, their first generation.
They're getting there through scholarships. They're getting there through football. That's the only way out. And if you suddenly get somewhere that,
if you're going to sign a contract that gives you so much money per year for 4 years when you're a college student, you're absolutely going to take it. And I think it's going to level the playing field. Hopefully it will. And it'll make the whole competition more fun and enjoyable to watch, for sure.
Cool. Sounds like a plan. And then last one. A couple there, but got a comment from Paul Hope that I'll throw up in a second.
I got Georgia.
You on the spot as Chris. You go Georgia? No. Because it's at home? Or?
No, because it's Georgia. Because they've been to the big games. Tennessee hasn't. They've never been in a game this big. They have in the past, when back in the day, right? Georgia played Bama. They played in the national championships. They played 2 or 3 semifinals in a few years. All the coaching staff, all the players have been there. I think that's a massive help when it comes to that kind of game, where crunch time, when the tiny minor decision might change the whole thing of the game.
Change the whole game, could change your whole season. You need to
taking the time at the right time, that kind of thing. Kicking a field goal instead of going for 4. That kind of decision that happens in an instant sometimes can be absolutely massive. That's why I got Georgia. I think it'll be very close, because I've got Hooker. He's been out of his mind, and I think even the Georgia defense will struggle a little bit. But I'm just looking forward to it. I have no ties to any of those teams. I'm just happy to see a great game, hopefully.
Sounds like a plan. And then Paul just pops in there saying, I guess we're waiting for you to finish this. So, sorry about
yes,
that.
we are. 10 minutes, Paul. I'll be there in 10 minutes.
You're all good.
Talk 9 is Talk 9 is a bye week, and we've got some questions from the faithful, so we'll be answering that in a minute.
Appreciate you guys jumping on the comments there. I appreciate you coming in and giving us all of your thought processes. For everybody else watching on Let's Talk Sport, please go like, subscribe, hit the bells, do all the things that you're kind of supposed to do. A big shout out to Dan from Let's Talk Sport. I know he's kind of going through some health issues. Best of luck to you, mate. Get well soon. We'll see you back on soon. Yeah, good recovery, Dan. Hopefully everything goes well for you. Thank you very much, Najee. Been great fun. Appreciate you. Good fun. Take it easy, man. We'll do it again soon. Yeah, see you later.